What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sensational Gent live stream number 21. I am here, and I will let y'all know right now. I kind of got some sinus issues going on, so if I sound weird, or I always sound weird, if if I'm not coming through clear, if I seem a little slow, that's because I am dealing with that. You know, sinus issues feel like I don't know, just makes your head feel all icky and whatever. So if this is your first time here to the Sensational Gent, I am the host, Sean C. You are now entering, okay, the realm of the Sensational Gent. And here we like to discuss topics, especially on these live streams, that will impact your life, that will help you further your purpose so that you can live your best life. So again, if you're new to this channel, hit that like button so we can go ahead. If you're in there watching right now, hit that like button right now so we can get more notifications out to folk out there. And uh so they can know that the live stream is going on. Okay. And if you again, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. It's free. It don't hurt. If you don't like me later, unsubscribe. But hopefully you do. Hopefully you say, there's some value in watching this. Okay. He okay. He an okay dude. And that's what I hope is happening. All right. So real quick, let me just dive into the intro. So I just told you what we are about here at the Sensational Gent. The other thing is today's topics, we're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about why people are unhappy. And then we're going to talk about some Christmas stuff in a segment I want to call Bah Humbug. Okay. So uh I hope that don't mess up anybody's time. I don't mean to make it bad. I don't have any ought against Christmas, but we'll talk about that more when we get to that segment. All right. So that's what we'll be talking about. The other thing that I want you guys to know is that we also have a fitness channel that our second channel is called Sensational Fitness and Wellness. And I was putting out like one video a week. I kind of went a couple weeks without doing it, but I promise now that I'm going to actually be putting out videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, even if it's just a few minutes to tell you guys what I'm thinking, what's on my mind, what I'm struggling with when it comes to my fitness and my goals, to let you know that, and like I said in my last video, you are not alone in this, okay? Even I go through struggles, and I've been, into fitness most of my life now, and I've helped a lot of people. So even for me, sometimes I go through my own struggles and stuff. And so I hope that you guys will take that journey with me, and hopefully this helps you on your fitness and health journey. Without further ado, I also want to go over here to my next segment, which is shout outs. I want to see who's up in here in the chat. I have my boy here, Neil. I have a story to tell. What's up, bro? How you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time, breaks in between your time. I know you out there hustling, doing your thing. Everybody check out Neil's channel. And then I have Dave and Kathy. Hi. Hello. How y'all doing? Hello to everyone. They said, okay, make sure you go check out their channel as well. All right. And I'll get more into that later. But I wanted to say thank you all for being here. I know there's the holiday time, so getting people to come and watch a live stream may be a little difficult. But I plan to actually continue the live streams throughout because I think Christmas and all that falls on the weekend, and my live streams are on a Wednesday. So even if it's just for a few minutes to say hi to everybody and wish you a happy Merry Christmas to you and your family, I will be doing that. So I hope that that's much appreciated. Okay, let's get out to that. All right. And if you're watching this pre-recorded, if you ever come into my live streams, you go ahead and you say something in the chat, I will shout you out. So just so you know, because I want to make sure that you guys understand that it is you that make up the Sensational Gent and have it to where it's at now. So I thank you all. The first topic today is social media a good or a bad thing? So look, the evolution of social media to me, I don't think I was really on board right away. And I think on the onset, I was still pretty much, I consider myself, I was a young man at the time when social media really came on the stream. on the scene. You're talking about like MySpace and Facebook had just came out in the the mid early 2000s, right? And I didn't jump on that for a while. I'll talk about that more in a second. The other thing that what else they had? MySpace. I actually was young enough at the time. I was in my we'll say my early to mid 20s, even up and through my late 20s, or up into my late 20s, I was actually using dating websites. I'm talking about when it was still taboo and stuff like that. People were like, oh, you're going to meet somebody online? That's just weird. And I always thought of like, it's so much easier to type in what you're looking for and then have it give you a list of people that maybe might fit those parameters. So, but that's not social media, that's dating. I'm just talking about in general. Now you're talking about the Instagram and you're talking about TikTok. And now these things have expanded. Now these things have gotten bigger. All right. So listen, I told you guys I was going to say to you all about me getting on Facebook. So at first I was like, you know what? The world, Facebook is going to make my world a lot smaller with a lot of people around able to look me up, able to find me. I didn't want to be found or discovered like that. And I would even say to you and venture to say to you guys that me even moving to South America is a way of me kind of getting away. But I'm also going to be broadcasting and I'm going to be putting out videos when I start moving around. So it's not like you can't find me anywhere. I've gotten past that. But what happened was that made me change my mind on social media is that my 10-year reunion for high school was coming up. And I was like, how are we going to connect with these people? Are we having a reunion? Now, a lot of times back in the past, you had to talk to, you know, folk of folk. You had to talk to people, different people. You had to kind of get the word going around to the grapevine, maybe get a phone number or two and call them. I will say that finding out if we had a 10-year reunion was pretty simple. And it was Facebook that allowed us to do it. They created a page, and we were able to all log on to that page for my year that I graduated. And we were able to all connect and say, this is where the venue is going to be. This is how we're going to get it together. So, in that respect, social media has been really good. Um, Despite what you might think about during the pandemic, a lot of people were able to kind of keep in touch through social media. Social media people actually started getting on even more and started branching out. Social media allows us to find people that have like interests so that we can all, share those passions that we have for a certain thing. Think about it right now. Right now, my viewers right now are also YouTubers that I met, through other YouTubers, through watching other people's channels. And here we are, we have this social construct that we have where we keep up, we watch each other's videos, we support each other. And so that's a good thing. All of those things that social media have allowed us to do, right? But and it allows us to keep up with people's lives like never before. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember everybody's birthday. But the good thing is because I have friends on social media says, hey, is this person's birthday? It allows me to get a chance to not have to remember what I have like 900 something Facebook friends, and I don't have to remember everybody's birthday. It tells me, boom, there you go, Freddie. Okay, remember everybody's birthday right there for you. So don't feel offended if I don't remember your birthday. I mean, I do to some extent have an idea when people's stuff fall, but I mean, 800 people is really tough. And I know I don't talk to all 800 and some friends, but the point being is I still can say hi, especially the people you haven't talked to in a while. Gives you a great opportunity to let them know that you're thinking about them. And this has been a great part of social media. But the bads of social media that um, we're focused too much on what other people are doing. Focus too much on what's happening with the Joneses and not what's happening in our own backyard. We're too focused on this person did this and why they got this photo and why they looking like this and what's wrong and this, that, and the third. Okay? So sometimes that social media can be bad because it allows us to look, like I said, look too hard in other people's backyards. All right. And then the other thing is you have people that have now become focused on likes. Does this person like what I put out? Did this person like that last post? Did you see what I put out? And I think to some extent, yeah, you want to know if your friends and family have seen what's going on with you. But the truth is, a lot of people are busy. And if you have 800 and some friends like I do, some people's posts get lost in the sauce, as they say. Okay. People's stuff get lost in the sauce. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. David Cat says, you do not meet new friends and reconnect with some you haven't heard from in years. You do meet new friends and reconnect with some you haven't heard in years. Absolutely. And that was the great part about it. You know what I mean? Like I've reconnected with so many people. Now I look at my life in three different facets, right? I look at mine like high school, pre-military days, and then I have, and then even the job that I had before, and then you have my military time, which you're talking about people that I served with in all the different locations. You're talking about all the civilians and friends that I met by being in those locations. You're also talking about all of the friends of friends that I've met in those locations. So I have, this wide gamut of people that I've met and known through the years. And that's why my Facebook friends are up to so much. And to reconnect, as you stated, where you may not have heard somebody in years and you can just do a simple search, or maybe they do a suggestion to you through another mutual friend. You're like, hey, I did not talk to that person in a long time, because life happens and we understand that life happens. The problem is when you start relying on those people's opinion in order for you to function. Like if people don't like you, you can't function. And I don't really think that's a product of us that are older and stuff like that. I think for the most part we get sucked into it, but I think that we still have a sense of what life was like prior to social media, when you would have to interact with folk. I'll get to that in a little bit. The other negative that can happen due to social media is, I told you that it was a positive. It can also be a negative. If you find pockets of friends and people that just agree with you, that's not challenging your views, that maybe have negative views, and you're getting sucked into their negative views. Um, there are a lot of cliques and clans, and there's a lot of people that you know just think like me because everybody else is wrong. And I think that it's okay to challenge ideas. I challenge you all to challenge my ideas on here. And that's what we need to talk about. That's what we're talking about here today. Again, I apologize to you guys if I'm a little low energy today. It's because of my sinuses and stuff like that. Um, I got some tea and some lemon. Should have put some honey in it, but whatever. I didn't have time for that. The other thing is, I feel like with social media, we kind of lose our humanity. It's really easy to go ahead and just to talk to people through your social media and just send texts and not talk. Or, you might have friends that you never meet up with or you never see. It's good enough just to be able to say hi and what's up to them on social media instead of planning to have that time to be together like we used to do, like we used to gather around and be with each other. We'll talk more about that later. So I will tell you, there was no conclusive data per se on, is social media ruining our lives. It's just not enough time for it to be around for it to for them to have data to tell us whether or not it's good or bad. I will tell you though, I've seen the good and I've seen the bad. And I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen the good and seen the bad with social media, how it affects people, how it affects people's um, um, their ability to be able to function and process. I mean, can you imagine the kids nowadays, right, having to worry about bullying? And I know that's being frowned upon, so there's a lot being done to stop cyberbullying, and I totally understand that. But can you imagine? Think about your most embarrassing moment in school. I'll tell you mine. I'll raise my hand and tell you. I was at a pep rally, and I was on the basketball team. So the first time in the layup line, I did a layup, and then the next time I dunked the basketball, and I'm like, all right, cool. I dunked this ball. It's all good. And now I'm like, I'm gonna jump back further, and I'm gonna dunk this basketball. And I felt like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football, right? Like the football got removed, and then I fell on my face, looked like a bad Sprite commercial where I tried to dunk it and dunk, and I fell back, and everybody laughed. Now, at that time when I did that, yeah, people talked about it for a while. I got laughed at, right? But imagine had that been on social media. There's a high chance that somebody would have put that on their social or the social media. Imagine all the phones that would have happened because everybody's recording a pep rally. Even if half the people in the gymnasium is recording a pep rally, you're still talking about hundreds of people. So even if 100 people recorded it and saw me hurt myself or hurt my pride, really, okay, hurt my tushy and I hurt my pride, okay, and that would have been on social media and everybody could laugh and talk about it. You see what that goofy son of a bitch did in the pep rally? Yeah, like that's what would have happened. Okay, so you wonder how these kids deal with that, where their lives are constantly on social media. And so that's the thing that they can't measure right now, because right now that is kind of undefined, if you will. There's just no empirical data to say, is it good or is it bad? But what I will tell you guys is make sure that you are using your social media responsibly. It is so easy to get caught up in it. Have you ever been using your social media and you look and maybe 2 hours or an hour has passed because you've been scrolling and swiping and replying and doing some likes and all those different things? It's happened to me. I'm sitting there watching YouTube shorts or TikToks, and like 2, 3 hours have passed. I've just been sitting there watching and scrolling. I'm guilty of that, even though there are times where, like, I posted on my Instagram for the Sensational Gent. If you are not subscribed there and you want to contact me with anything, ideas, whatever, you can find me at TheSimsationalGent on Instagram. So that is the page. I try to update it with what's going on the channel as best I can. But I'll tell you, I didn't grow up in this generation to keep updating it like I should. So, I'm doing my best, right? So make sure you guys check that out. But I feel like we need to learn not to be so dependent on social media. I really do. I think we need to get back to how we used to care for each other, how we used to really, and look, it's still good to be able to check on your friends and family that need it. Because the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this next segment, why are people unhappy? Why are you unhappy? Are you watching this right now? Are you unhappy? We're going to talk about that here in this next segment. Let's see what's going on here. Just an hour on social media? Hey, sometimes that hour turns to 2 or 3. Like I said, I don't spend a lot of time on it myself. I really don't. I will tell you, I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I do. I don't really watch TV as much. I have a couple shows here and there, but I typically watch a lot of YouTube because I'm catching up on your guys' channels. I have things that I like to watch and stuff, and you know, that's a lot. The other night, I spent 9 hours watching the cutscenes of video games. So, like when they go to the cinematic breaks in the video games, I sat there and watched one for a video game called God of War, and it's such a good movie. Imagine like a better version of Clash of the Titans, right? So, and I know Clash of the Titans is a classic, which I do love that movie. It's as close we're gonna get to God of War. But God of War is pretty good. It's a good storyline. They should make it into a movie. And hopefully they cast The Rock as Kratos. So let's get on to the next section. I'm not gonna hold it up too long tonight. Oh, that's the wrong one. Why are people unhappy? Sadly enough, if you do not think that this is a real problem, then you are not in the know. But it's easy to see. It's easy to see why people may be unhappy given what we have just gone through. We have had a severe paradigm shift here in the world where we are dealing with a pandemic. And I'm not going to sit here and, I'm not here to beat people over here on their beliefs about this, that, and third. All I know is in the last week, I just found out the other day I lost another one of my customers, and one of my ex brother-in-laws. He passed away because of COVID complications. So this has already been a lot of people. But I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about people who are generally just unhappy because they can't live their lives like they want to. Now, people are getting out again and socializing, but there's still a good percentage of the public that's still like, hey, I want to be able to go out, but I'm kind of hesitant. I'm kind of nervous. And then there's some that just don't really care. I don't know where you fall in that, but there's a lot going on. You also have economic shifts that we are dealing with. Wall Street never doing well, but not necessarily Main Street. People that regular folk may not feel those economic surges that are felt by those people that are investing. And that might make someone sad. It might make people sad because for a variety of reasons. I'm going to talk about some of the statistics on this. And I got all that stuff. If you want to see more about these articles and what it says, I'm just going to paraphrase most of this stuff, but the links are down in the description below for every article or for every subject that I'm talking about today. And the other thing is, people are more unhappy today than they have been in almost the past 50 years. So since they've been really taking surveys on people's happiness since about 1972, this is like some of the lowest data that they found in the whole survey, even considering some of the other things that we've gone through since or before this pandemic. People are feeling more lonely. People are feeling lonely. Now, if you don't know, there is a difference between being alone and lonely. There is a difference. Okay? Feeling alone is like nobody's there for you. You're just by yourself. And lonely is needing the presence and the company of someone else. All right? Let's see what the chat says before I get too deep into this. David Cat says, that's what we're doing too, YouTube. Unless the Packers are playing or we are traveling. Oh, y'all cheeseheads, huh? Okay. I see that. I see that. Yeah, no, YouTube is so hard not to cut off because it's really just quick clips, especially if you like the person that you're listening to. Hope you guys like listening to me. Hit that like button, the subscribe button, and share this with someone else. And again, sorry I'm a little low energy, but I have sinus congestion. I'm really Blair, my man. Oh my God. So earlier I was talking in the broadcast about social media, and I met Blair in Hawaii. And again, that was through our service, whatever. We were able to meet each other. And that's kind of, one of those things where you go somewhere and you just meet new people. And I'm grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful for that ability to be able to keep in touch with people. Blair, I thank you for being here. Hopefully you enjoy what you're listening to today. We're just talking about a few topics about why people are being so unhappy. And we just went over social media, good and the bad, right? So, but people are feeling more lonely. 40% of people feel that their social relationships aren't meaningful. And then there's another 20% that feel lonely or socially isolated. These are staggering numbers. I mean, it may not seem like a lot, but when you're talking about all of America, that is a large swath of people that feel they don't feel good. They don't feel happy. They feel alone. They feel lonely. They feel isolated. Could it be more? Could it be just more than this pandemic? We talked about a few things. Economic uncertainty. That was another thing that they talked about, where people used to feel good that will their kids, when their kids get to their age, will they have the same economic success that they've experienced? And a lot of people, that went down severely. Like over half of the people felt like, yeah, my kids will be okay. That went down to like 30, 40%, 37% or something like that. All right. Links are in the description just in case I get those numbers wrong. But people feel like that. Now, I read another article a while back that the newest generation, Generation Z, I believe, they are going to be the first generation that is going to have um, less wealth than their preceding generation. Every other generation has gotten better, has gotten a little bit wealthier, right? People are able to leave their kids a little bit behind. Gen Z will be the first generation, at least it was on pace to be, to not have more than their predecessor, which is either millennial parents or Generation X parents, right? Yeah, bro. Hey, man, it's good seeing you here in the live stream, man. Good to see you here. I also do this, just so you guys know, I do this where like it's almost like a podcast. So if you were just listening to it while you're doing something else, that's the way I try to like run it. You can watch it too and see my crazy expressions. But I try to just make it where we're talking and have a conversation. So please feel free to drop your comments in below and let me know what you think about that, what you think about the subject. And again, I look forward to interacting with what you think was going on, and so that we can have a robust discussion. 28% of older adults live alone. That is a lot. Look, I worry. My mom, ironically enough, we have this conversation every day. It's like, I hope your sister move out. I can't take this no more. But and I hope my sister didn't see that. Mom loves you, sis, okay? But she's getting old and you're getting older too. It just ain't working out. But the whole point being is my mom wants to be alone. Like she loves her alone time. But I'm saying there are a lot of people that they're not like, I'm sure that they're alone or lonely, but even if they're not, they just don't have anyone around. And so what's going to happen to this next generation where as inflation goes up and you have the devolving of pensions. Pensions have been going away for a while. The breakdown of unions and stuff have been going away for a while. The only way to really save up for your own retirement right now is really through investment. And before, where you used to do 20 years in a company and you had some interest divested or invested into that company. So hopefully that any company that you guys are working for, it allows you to invest in them so that you have something and whatever. And people say, well, I got my 401k, but how many times have we seen, especially during the crisis, that people lost their money in these 401k? I bring all this up to say is economic uncertainty would also make you feel depressed. If you didn't know that you were going to have a way to retire, that you were going to have a way to support yourself in your latter years, for Generation X, part of Generation X and below, um, there won't be a retirement come when it's time to retire. You won't have Social Security fall on because it'll be solvent. They're trying to break Social Security because they want you to invest in these companies. So all that money you've been putting in and you're not going to get it, there's so many people that's not going to get it. And it's because your money's being used other places. Economic uncertainty is one of the things that break up marriages. So you're telling me it wouldn't make you feel some type of way that people have got their hand in your pocket and taking your money that you worked hard for? That wouldn't give you some anxiety, make you unhappy? Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. It hits home when we hear about loneliness in the elderly. We're fortunate so far anyway. You know what? You guys are. And I love that you guys go out and you do things. And we're going to talk about that at the conclusion of that portion, because there is something that people can do to battle loneliness. And that even goes for the elderly. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But it does make me sad too. And I wrote this down. I wrote something down that you all are going to want to hear as I get into this. But let me see what the next. Blair says, we need to reach out to our family and friends and remind them we are thinking of them. Absolutely. Absolutely, Blair. And I didn't make this the topic this week, but I was on this kick. I've really been thinking about my mortality again. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I had to go to therapy at one point because I was thinking about, it was when the pandemic happened, but I was thinking about death every day. Every day. Like to the point where if I went to sleep and then I like you pop up because you gotta use the restroom or maybe you just right. If I woke up even for a second, I was scared to go back to sleep. So now I'm running off a little sleep, and then until I pass out and I wake up again, I'm like, oh, I can't go back to sleep because I may not wake up. Like I was scared of passing away, and I've been thinking about it lately because I've gotten this news that I've lost friends, and so it makes you think. Why am I bringing this up, Blair? Because if we it's I brought this up to someone and they made a good point on it too, but I said if we knew we only had one day to live, would we make different choices in our life? We would, right? I think we'd be calling people all day, just talking to people and trying to do things. It'd be almost impossible to do everything in 24 hours. So I think it's incumbent upon us to treat each day like it could be potentially our last. Now, if you try to do stuff every day, that is impossible. But you should make the effort every day to be appreciative of your life and the people that you have in it. And even if it's just reaching out to one person a day to say, hey, how are you doing today? And I'm bad at that, right? I was on submarines. I know that I get a little into my own bubble myself. And it's tough. It's something I'm still working on, right? It's something that's still an ongoing project with me, if you will, right? But you're right, Blair. We got to start reaching out to our friends and family. I got to get better about that. And I thank you for saying that because it just brings it to my mind, especially in light of losing some people recently. And you hear about that and you're like, wow, I haven't checked on that person in a while. I didn't know how they were doing. Now they're not here. There's no opportunity to make that right. There's no opportunity to talk to that person and tell them, hey, I was thinking about you. See what I'm saying? Neil says, yes, it is very easy to go into the negative on social media. Yeah, I mean, listen, we've social media is like a rabbit hole that you don't really want to get caught on. I think, again, like I said earlier, I said that most people that are older, we might get caught on it for a few hours because you get trapped on it. The problem is when you allow social media to, you rely on it for everything, right? You rely on it so you're not lonely. You need it so that you can feel some type of validation. You need it so that um, you feel wanted by others. And I'm not saying it's not good to be wanted, but I'm talking about the negative aspects of it, where you feel like you don't have anybody to listen to you, and so somebody's listening to you, and maybe they're not a good influence, maybe they're not good people, maybe they're not a good group, maybe they're not a good fit, and you have to deal with that kind of stuff. So yes, there are a lot of ills and negatives with social media. So listen to this. Loneliness is as bad as smoking 15 packs of cigarettes a day, per this one study. Again, I have everything linked below in the description if you want to look at that stuff yourself. But I can't I can't quantify that. I'm not a scientist, but I can tell you I've seen it happen. And so what I had brought up, Dave and Kathy, like what I was talking about earlier, where I had a story I was going to bring up. My great grandmother was, I used to go by her house most weekends and most summers. And then she wound up moving to actually not too far from here, or it's like Lake Tahoe, California, with my aunt. And she left her family, her sisters, and everything to go stay with my aunt. And my aunt had things to do. So my great grandmother would be alone a lot, left alone a lot. So by the time she moved back 3 years later, her mental had deteriorated. She started declining because she just didn't have those friends around. She didn't have that family around. She didn't have that social interaction that kept her sharp. People weren't talking as much. There was a phone and she was talking to folks, but it ain't the same as having that personal interaction, having that one-on-one time that we all need. And I think that social media, as Neil was talking about earlier, the other thing about it, brother, is we start losing a little bit of ourselves to it. We might interact through it, but it's not the same as being next to each other and having that laugh and that camaraderie. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I hope these live streams are good, because it's like, yeah, it's still social media, but it's still a way to be able to interact and talk and stuff like that. So that's the good part of it. But I saw my great grandmother become a shell of herself, and that was due to loneliness, and that was due to being alone every day, till she just wasn't even the same person anymore. That hurts to think about that. Um, the pandemic has changed relationships, right? The pandemic, in some instances, some of you guys have reached out to more folk because of the pandemic, because of potentially losing them, because of the inability necessarily to go see people. I haven't seen my mom and my son in years because of this pandemic. Because traveling, I can't, like there's certain logistics that I can't figure out with the traveling. Or I don't want to make sure, like I don't want my mom to get sick because I come to go see her or something like that. This pandemic has changed a lot on how we treat each other, how we interact. Certain people have taken this opportunity, like some of you guys out there, and you started YouTube channels and you've made yourself better through this process. You've gotten to be a little bit better. But while you guys have taken it and been positive and ran with it, you have other people that are regressing backwards, that they are losing themselves because this is not what they're used to. This is not what they signed up for. It's a little different. It just feels different. Everything is just the way we move and we operate, even though things are open. It's not the same as it was pre-pandemic. And we can all agree on that. And we can all also realize that we used to at least hug each other, do all kinds of stuff. And in some cases, we still do that. But now the way we even meet strangers is different. And it's crazy, right? What do y'all think about that? So here's the keys to happiness. The keys to happiness is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier. This is 75 years worth of study has proven that good relationships keeps us happier and healthier. Now, right? So that's data, that's science, that is proven. Here's the problem. The problem is, how do you maintain and foster those type of good relationships that are going to keep you happy and healthy? Because you can have relationships and they might seem good, but they may not be good enough. They may not be good enough to get you out of that state of loneliness, that state of panic, that state of fear, that state of being alone, that state of no one's there, no one understands me, nobody can get it. Those may not be enough. So how do you foster those relationships? And I've talked about that on previous live streams and previous videos. Please check out some of my other videos where we talk about fostering better relationships, where it's important to have people that you can trust and you can rely on in your life. Because if you don't, the data says you will not be happier and you will not be healthier if you are not doing those things. Okay, so there is no argument there. That is something that they have found to be true. Let's see what y'all say real quick. Blair says in-person social interaction is very important. Very important. Teleworking is productive, but not the same. I don't know if you're doing any teleworking there, Blair. I haven't done that yet. In some instances, it's good because you can get up. Like, not to say you're gonna get up any later. You got to get up at the same time. You got to log in and stuff like that. You got to start doing work. But being at home, you can have breakfast and you can roll right into your office and stuff like that. But now we're talking about the human interaction toll of teleworking. And some of that stuff has already happened, but imagine all your interactions, not having that meeting where you're all together, where you're all seeing each other face to face. Some of that has been, you can see that the deterioration of, like I play Call of Duty. These Call of Duty games have been deteriorating because the devs, the developers of these games have been working and giving their pieces not from the same office. They've been working from home and they're putting these games together. And a lot of these games are trash now because they have not been um, able to work together. And this goes into what you just said, Blair. We need face to face, and I totally agree. And that's kind of what I'm bringing up here. We need face to face. We need those interactions because go back to what I said earlier. If we don't have it, we start to lose our humanity. Those social interactions are very important to our development. Can you imagine the young people growing up through this right now without those healthy social interactions that are happening? It's a lot, right? Oh, I think I just throw that one. Oh, Neil says, I am a YouTube guy. I don't watch TV too much at all. I don't either, Neil. I watch a lot of YouTube. All right. There's a couple channels I have here and there, but in the end of the day, I watch a lot of YouTube, including you guys' channels and supporting everybody and then the channel and the stuff I like to watch. I have a lot of stuff I watch. YouTube, we're not going to even go there, bro. You know, you and I, we know, okay? All right. We do need that face to face, though. Blair is absolutely correct. So, how are we going to get past this? How, if we know that good relationships keeps us happy, how do you get past that when you have chinks in the armor of your relationships? I'm telling you right now, with this pandemic around, I think it's important that we get our relationships right with the people that are in our lives, the people that we love, the people that we care for, the people that we trust, the people that we hold dear to us here and that we love. It's time to get those relationships right. It's time to reach out and talk to those folks. Now, look, sometimes it's a little bit easier said than done, right? Again, we talked about this on previous episodes, but sometimes you got to cut people off for a little bit so that you can get yourself right. And that's the thing. Some people are trying to rely on other people to make them happy, yet they don't have their own happiness, right? They don't know about self-happiness because they don't have purpose. They don't have worth. You got to have some type of purpose. You have to have some type of aim that you're going for. Because if you can't make yourself happy, or if you can't find your own happiness in yourself, how is someone else going to make you happy? However, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have those personal interactions. So they came up with, and I'm going to close out this segment of this talk, but they came up with one type of thing that you can do right now that will satisfy all of the things we just talked about unhappiness, right? And feeling unhappy, especially due to being alone or lonely. You know what they said? This is what they said. Volunteering. Yep, volunteering. Now think about it. No matter what age you are, you go ahead and volunteer. You're getting around other people. You're going to start to interact with other people. You're going to interact with people, right? Instead of, you talk about good relationships, people that are volunteering are doing volunteering for altruistic reasons, right? They are trying to give something to someone else. So they're not thinking about themselves. So you're doing that. It allows you to get out the house. It allows you to help people. It allows you to get to know other people's stories and what's going on with them. When I go and walk these streets here in Vegas, and sometimes I'll be out, and the homeless people ask me for change. And I sometimes say to them, I was like, well, give me your story first. And they're like, what? I was like, look, I'm gonna, I want to give you the money, but what's your story? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I care about what's happening to you. I want to know. So what's your story? Tell me about yourself? Where are you from? I'm going to say this to you guys out there, but I feel like I'm going to give you this money, but I'm paying you for the story. Give me your story. And sometimes I'll shock them because they give me their story, and if they're like forthcoming with it, I've done I've given out a $20 bill before, sometimes more. You gave me your story. If I sit there and talk to you for an hour, right, I'm stopping you from getting other money from other folks. I want to pay for that story. I want your story. Okay. So I don't volunteering. I remember volunteering, and it does make you feel good, don't it? To do something for others, especially when you genuinely mean it, right? Um, so volunteering, no matter what your age, no matter what you're going through, you volunteer. It just combines so many of the things that are needed to foster good relationships that you won't feel lonely slash alone. All right. And for the last segment of the day, you guys are going to trip out on this. Not trip out, but I call it bah humbug. I don't know if you guys can see. I have my festive background. It is coming up on Christmas. And my God, I'll be honest with you, I don't really celebrate Christmas anymore. I still have a couple small kids or young kids, I'll call them. And this year I was like, oh, I'm gonna do what I can. It's a rough year. A lot of people are hurting right now. My son understood that, which I'm glad. I'm grateful for. I stopped celebrating Christmas when I felt that Christmas was starting to be a money grab. Like remember it was a few years back, you guys, let me know down in the comments if you guys remember this. Remember when it was on the news where you had like these Black Friday sales, whatever, and the people were trampling on each other, right? People were rushing to the store and people were getting trampled on. People were way out there all night and the people rushing the store and people were getting trampled. What are we doing that we need stuff that bad? See, it was cool when I was a kid to be able to get Christmas gifts. But I also remember my mom like, hey, baby, I don't have it this time. I can do this, but I really, you're going to have to wait till after Christmas. And after Christmas never came. So I just had this life where she did what she could, and when she couldn't, oh well. Did it make me sad sometimes? Yes. But overall, I was better for it because I have a mindset that I don't need stuff. And it was growing up poor, growing up under a woman who did the best she could, who couldn't provide me with everything that I wanted. I'd say mostly I had what I needed, but I didn't always get what I wanted. And I'm grateful for that. So when I watch people killing themselves, I told you finances is one of the big things that causes depression. It causes people to be unhappy. And here it is, people will spend their last to try to make a Christmas happen. Like if you are religious and you spiritual or whatever, and you're doing it because you want to honor Christ, that is totally understandable. But we don't sit here and tell me and make it about these gifts and then tell me that there's not an issue with that if you just making it about the gifts. I think this Christmas, and I leave this to you guys, that this Christmas should be about taking time to acknowledge your friends and your family, especially the ones that you didn't get to talk to during Thanksgiving, because this time is where people want to quit. A lot of people are depressed. A lot of people want to take away that ember that is inside them, which we call life, because they feel depressed and it's seasonal and it has to deal with not having and just feeling alone and feeling isolated. So make sure you guys take the time to reach out face to face, as Blair said it, with your friends and family that may need it, that may be out there by themselves. Now, I want to share something to screen with you guys. Now, listen, I am both conservative and liberal in my thoughts. I saw this and tell me what you guys think. Okay, just go to share my screen. This title says woke wannabe film critics want to cancel Christmas classes over toxic masculinity. And these are some of the movies right here. That's a Wonderful Life, where you have Love Actually, and you have Santa Claus. So you guys can read the screen. I can't see it from back here. There's a movie called The Holiday, and in here they bash and talk about like, oh, this sucks because, like this guy is trying to get with this person and sleep with this person, and that's toxic masculinity and something stupid. And then they got Jack Black, who keeps pursuing Kate Winslet, and he's a piece of crap because he wants to pursue her, and and whatever, right? Like, it's crazy, right? So they want to cancel that movie. Another one, A Wonderful Life. They want to cancel that movie too, right here. They want to cancel it. You know why? Because they said he was a misogynist, right? They said that, yeah, even though he found a better way, he yelled at his woman. You know what they had the nerve to say down here, right in this section? You guys can read it. I linked it down below in the description. They had the nerve to say that um, that I can't remember the name. My God, but they wanted to say that he kissed his wife without permission, and that was, unacceptable. Like, who the heck can't kiss their wife or their wife kissed them? Hey, you need my permission to kiss me, to give me a kiss if you love me, if we've been together, if our social contract says I can give you a kiss. It's not like it's a kiss. It's not like he just, you know, clubbed her over the head and, took her into the bedroom or something. That's not what happened, right? This is silly. This is silliness. Let me go back to this screen real quick. So that's the kind of stuff they said on Wonderful Life. Then the Santa Claus. You can imagine what they said on that one. This is fat shaming. And then all these fat jokes. Listen, I've been pudgy a time or two myself. And yeah, it don't feel good to get made fun of or whatever. But this is Santa Claus, Jolly Saint Nick. How is it that we can't talk about pudgy Santa Claus? Right? But now it's like, well, we can't talk about that either. It's like, man, it's like, look, I'm not saying we should shame anybody, whatever, but like, at what point are we just so like, that these people are so in their feelings that like they can't take a joke? You don't have to cancel these movies per se. Just don't watch them. Okay? Just stop listening to the people. I don't know. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying with this. I'm about to go back to this chat real quick. Blair says, I remember being unsatisfied with my gifts when I was a kid. Oh, yeah, that sucks. Because it's like, you might have asked for something, you didn't get it. But think about how the media has played into our minds about that kind of stuff. It's saying that all you got to do is ask Santa Claus for the gift that you want. And if you good, then you can get it. Notwithstanding if your parents can afford it. Notwithstanding if that's what they didn't think you should get it. Like you want that Red Ryder BB gun and they told you, hey, you're going to shoot your eye out, kid. And you're like, how can I get the Red Ryder BB gun? Why can't I get a lamp I can rub on his leg? Blair says, with my kids, about the fun times being together. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Enjoy and live that. And, it is something to be able to watch the look of the kids' faces, watch their faces and see the happiness and the joy. I do miss that. But at the same time, Christmas is about, well, we'll talk about this in the next one. And then we have Harry Glenn. Okay, I don't know what that means. Let me know. Lot for your information. I don't know, but thank you for being here in the live stream. I appreciate you being here. Hopefully that you get something from this. Let's go back to this screen real quick. Then the last one is Jingle All the Way. Y'all remember this? Where Arnold Schwarzenegger was looking to try to get an action figure for his son. And so what they're saying is this is late stage capitalism at its worst. Okay, late stage capitalism is causing people to run out for this toy and fight each other. And I just talked about it, people trampling on themselves. Listen, can two things be true at the same time? Can two things be true at the same time? Yes, that movie does go into the issues and the problems with late stage capitalism. Totally understandable. But could it not be a heartwarming movie about a guy trying to go out? He loves his son and he wants to give his son the gift that he asked for. And the same thing, I think Sinbad was in that movie too. Could that not be true? Now, I don't believe in spoiling with gifts and stuff. I don't. But you telling me you can't watch that movie and just enjoy it? You're like, oh, we should cancel it. It's late stage capitalism. Come on, man. Even if you don't believe, even if you know, don't believe in capitalism, you gotta like admit that just sounds silly, doesn't it? It's just a movie. If that's the case, there's a lot more things that need to be cut off and be canceled other than these Christmas movies. That makes sense. And then like the last one is Love Actually. And I didn't watch that movie. Oh, this one is a movie with Andrew Lincoln, and I think he falls in love um, with his best friend's woman that he's gonna marry. And so they said that's creepy, and those creepy aspects of the movie. And that may be true. I can't argue that one. Okay? I can't argue that. But again, it's a movie, people. So you telling me that nowhere in this world that people don't fall in love with like in that type of situation with their best friend's girl or something like that? I'm saying that you can debate whether it's wrong or right. I'm not here to argue that. I'm saying that it's just a movie. There's no new thing under the sun. So sometimes these movies need to get made so people can maybe have a different opinion. But canceling everything because it doesn't fit into your box of what you think should be or shouldn't, I'd rather just people just keep their opinion. So, okay. So, what do you guys think? Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Do y'all think that we should be canceling old Christmas movies that don't live up to the day? Or do you think it's a personal choice? What do you guys think on happiness, right? Like on being unhappy. Do you think that people have control of their own happiness? Do you think that people should be responsible for their own happiness to some degree, or is it on someone else to make someone else happy? And last but not least, do you think social media is ruining our relationships with each other? Do you think that social media is bad, that it's evil, that what do you think about that? I want to know what y'all let me know down in the comments. Let me know down in the chat, in the description. Let me know what y'all think about that stuff. Okay. Look, at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that if happiness is on the individual, I can't make you happy. I can do things that I think make you happy or influence your happiness, but I cannot make you happy. If you are unhappy, then it is time to now take a look at your life under a microscope and look at why are you not unhappy? And maybe you need to write those things down to figure out all the things that make you unhappy. And then I want you to take a list. And I want you to write down all the things that you are grateful for. Not what you make you happy, what you are grateful for. And if you find that your list is small of the things that you are grateful for, then I suggest that you take the opportunity to look at it. Because some people don't have a roof over their head. Some people don't have clothes on their back. Some people don't have food in their stomach. And here it is, you got all this stuff, and you still can't seem to find the happiness that seems to elude you on a daily basis. Now, I'm not saying that people don't suffer from depression, and I'm not saying people don't have clinical reasons, in which case they're not happy. However, you have to take control and responsibility for your happiness. Do you understand what I'm saying? So here on the Sensational Gent, we talk about and preach about finding your purpose so you can live your best life. And the reason is until you have some type of purpose, until you know where you're going, you are not going to find that happiness You're not going to find that inner peace. That's why in that survey, it talked about volunteering, doing something bigger than yourself. It talked about helping out somebody else. If you can't find the happiness within yourself, make other folk happy, but stop being selfish. And look, again, I don't want to bring down or demean people that just aren't happy for whatever reason. But at some point, you have to take accountability for you. Nobody else can do it for you. Nobody can watch life through the movie, through the lens of your eyes and be happy for you. We can't do that for you. So if you are unhappy, it's time before 2022 and take a look at yourself. Take a look at what you can do. Make sure you take the time to look at the people and the things that you have around you and be grateful. I didn't tell you to look at things that make you happy. I said look at things that make you grateful. Because if you're grateful for stuff, then you'll start to appreciate it more. Then you'll find a little bit more joy in it. Then you'll find some happiness in it. Then you'll find the opportunity that you can maybe reach out and maybe give some of that to somebody else instead of always taking from others. Do you understand what I'm saying, people? See what blessings. I'm sick of conformity. We have our own thoughts and opinions. As long as you're respectful, and I'm grateful for so much. I agree with you, man. Look, we used to be respectful of each other. One of my good friends who isn't here anymore used to be one of my customers, and we disagreed on some stuff. We had varying, like our points of view were polar opposite. But I tell you, he ain't here right now, and his picture is up on my bar right now. And I wish every day that I had him back here, that we could talk and have a conversation again. Do you understand? We used to can disagree, but we loved each other. So look, there's other things that we have in common. There's other things, commonalities that we can find from each other, that we can grow together, that we don't have to agree exactly on everything, but we try. David Katz says, it's usually a person's choice to be happy. Absolutely. Sadly, loneliness may not be. Reach out to the loved ones and make some friends with some that you don't know. You know, that's a tough one. That loneliness one. I grew up an only child. I've said that many times here. I'm not an only child, but I grew up an only child. And and I remember being alone, and I remember feeling lonely, and I remember those feelings. I specifically remember those feelings. And it took for me as a man, especially going out on these submarines where you have to be at one with your thoughts. You have to be at peace with yourself. Okay? But here's the thing, the loneliness thing you talked about. Even though we were going on that submarine for months at a time, there was the camaraderie that you had with each other that kind of pushed you through because you knew you were going through that same thing with other folk. That's why I said it's very important. You can find groups. Make sure these groups have your best interest in mind. Make sure that they're not spewing negative. Go back to what Blair said. Long as it's respectful of others, long as we are looking for others. What happened to Christmas where it used to be about thinking about others? That's what those movies represent. Well, some of them. A Wonderful Life was this selfish man. He might have been a wretched man, but he could change. And all these critics saw of that movie was this guy who maybe kissed his wife without permission or who yelled at her at some point. We all yell at each other at some point. Is that healthy? Maybe or maybe not. But is it a normal human reaction? Sometimes it is. So look, you're right. Loneliness, I don't have the key to that. But that's why they said volunteering would be a good thing. Because if you're lonely, you're going to get out, you're going to socialize with others while helping people. It's going to be just a total encompassing of giving you feelings to make you feel better. And at least volunteer until you can find out about who you really are. And maybe you might go to volunteer and you feel like this is the life for me, where I can go out and I can help other people beyond myself. And that in that moment that you grow and you become better through helping others. So maybe it doesn't be about yourself. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Okay. Look, I'm not gonna hold y'all up. Thank you guys for being here. Let me go through the chat real quick and make sure I thank all my guests. Thank you, Dave and Kathy, for being here as always. I appreciate that. Okay, I don't know if I'm getting spammed by spam bots, whatever. I don't know what all that is. Blair, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you for showing up to the live stream, man. I really appreciate that. And we need to talk soon, man. See how you doing, bro. How you and the family doing? My boy Neil, I have a story to tell. Okay, check him out. And I think that's all for the chat today. So, yeah, we had a pretty small group today. That's okay. It's the holiday season. I totally get it. Um, Check out Neil. I have a story to tell. Check out Dave and Kathy's channel on YouTube. Dave and Kathy Hi. Check their channel out. You're going to get some good stuff from there. Dave and Kathy have been taking us along on their adventures, and I'm grateful to be a part of those adventures. And more so, I'm even grateful for having this friendship with them now. And also, my boy Neil, I have a story to tell. He's been putting out good stuff talking about the gig economy and stuff like that, VHO and stuff like that. So check out his channel. Also, you'll get some daily encouragements. You'll get to see his life and blog and travels. And so I think you'll be blessed for it. Please check out all those channels. And then I have my boy Blair here with that. We both were in Hawaii together. I'm so glad that you're in here, brother. So again, if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It's free. It don't hurt you, okay? Just subscribe. You know you want to be a part of the Sensation Nation, okay? The Sensation Nation, okay? I just made that up. Sensation Nation. I might have to work with that one. That might have to be a T-shirt. The Sensation Nation, okay? Uh, Dave Guest said, love it, Sean. Thank you very much. Good talk, yeah. And look, and I come up with these ideas from what's going on in the week. I look at what's happening in the news, and I look at these articles, and I'm like, I wonder. Let's talk about it. Let's get after it. So I don't even know what next week's is going to be, but I take a page from my life, and I see what's going on through the week, and I say, let's talk about this. Let's have a robust discussion. If you're watching this as a pre-recorded video, I hope you got something from this today. And if you guys are in the chat right now, again, thank you very much. So I hope you all have well, it's not Christmas next week, but I know y'all going out and get y'all gifts and stuff like that. I hope you guys have a great time. And thank you guys for all being here. And as always,